Hello and welcome to a new episode of Other Record Labels, where we talk about the art and culture of running a record label. And we talk about things that are intended to help you get better at running a record label. And what is running a record label? It's about having people discover and support the music that we love and the music that we believe in and the artists that we sign. And so today's episode is 5 Bandcamp mistakes to avoid. Now, I am actually, Bandcamp is such a huge topic because it's a really popular platform in our record label community. It's been a popular platform for over a decade now in indie music. And the funny thing is anytime I talk about Bandcamp, the episode numbers and downloads always go up and the views on YouTube always go up. So people really want to get better at utilizing the platform Bandcamp. And we all love Bandcamp. So that totally makes sense. And so I've got 5 things that, and where did this information come from? Well, for me, it's in the labels that I've talked to and my own experience utilizing Bandcamp as a platform, but also when we interviewed Bandcamp in a previous episode. You'll have to go back and check that out a couple years ago. These are some advice that Andrew was telling me at the time, and Andrew was in charge at the time of their editorial team. And so these are things that they look out for as a platform because they're also looking to support a lot of the artists and releases and labels on the platform. So there are 5 Bandcamp mistakes to avoid. Because Bandcamp is so popular in our community, I'm going to create this ongoing resource. And so if you go to otherrecordlabels.com/Bandcamp, I'm going to keep all of the information that I learn about Bandcamp onto this page. And so I'm going to include a little bit of a checklist for you, and I'm going to include our previous interviews. So just go to otherrecordlabels.com/Bandcamp where you can get more information about, I'm going to say it again, Bandcamp. The number one mistake, not number one in any sort of order, but this is something that came from Andrew at Bandcamp, is not having product images. What does that mean? Well, when you upload an album to Bandcamp, let's say you have a physical component to that release, like a cassette, CD, or vinyl, or even a t-shirt or something like that. The problem is that surprisingly, some people don't have a product image, or they don't have a unique product image or enough product images. A product image is, if you're selling vinyl, it's just a photograph of that actual vinyl, or at the very least, a digital mock-up of what that vinyl will look like, what the color of the vinyl looks like, how cool and unique the packaging is. Some labels do this really well. In fact, I discovered an artist on Bandcamp, and this album ended up becoming one of my favorite albums of all time. In fact, I'm going to listen to it as soon as this is done. And I found it on Bandcamp because of the product images. This artist had incredible packaging for their vinyl and took photography studio quality images of their packaging. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can take some unique pictures of the band holding the record, or the record laid out on a coffee table or something like that, or just using the Photoshop mock-ups like we have on our website, for example. And so product images are important because it gets the fans excited, oh, I actually need to have this tape. This looks cool. So you can look on Bandcamp at great labels who are doing this. What it's like. And it's just incredible that so many people fail to do this. Even if it's just a t-shirt, don't just put a weird cartoon graphic of the t-shirt. Try to get the products in hand and do a mini little photo shoot. Most cameras, cell phone cameras, are great these days. Make a little white backdrop and do a cool product image photo shoot. Number 2 is not submitting music ahead of time to Bandcamp editorial. Now, the last time we did an episode on Bandcamp, there was a different process on how to submit an album to editorial. It used to be an email, and I've been hearing from people that email doesn't exist anymore, that it bounces back. And so as of recording this, if you go to bandcamp.com/guide, then they have a complete artist and label guide on how to best use their platform. And somewhere in that guide at the bottom, there's a form that you can fill out. It's like a Google form or something, and submit your album ahead of time for consideration. Now, I want to give you a warning here. This needs to be done well in advance. I think it's minimum 2 months in advance, maybe even closer to 4 months in advance. I submitted my record, for example, I think 3 to 4 months ahead of the release date. I filled out the form. It was already uploaded to the system. I did all the things they asked. And I heard back later that day that it was going to be included on the new and noteworthy section on my release day, which is 3 or 4 months later. And so you really have to be on the ball and submit to them. If you're not on the ball, I know they kind of plan their Bandcamp weekly and Bandcamp monthly and their new and noteworthy section really far ahead of time. So I don't know how much luck you're going to have. I guess it's still worth it to do it a couple weeks or a month ahead. Who knows? But make sure you're doing that. Go to bandcamp.com/guide and you'll find the information there, and make sure you submit all of your releases to them. Number 3 is not utilizing the mailing list feature. And so on the platform, you can access it through the app or you can access it through the platform, but you have followers, people who've purchased your stuff or people who've opted to follow your record label or to follow your artists. And you can actually send messages directly to them that goes to their app, if they have the Bandcamp app, and it goes to their email. And so there's a lot of people, myself included, who don't properly utilize this feature. I really should. I should do it more. If people unsubscribe or unfollow, I get it. That's okay. I don't unsubscribe or unfollow the people who message me. So utilize that monthly or every time you have a new release to let people know. Hopefully you already have an email marketing strategy and an email list and an email platform, but this is a great thing to do in addition to that, because it comes from Bandcamp, but from you. So it's really cool. I know some labels out there who are listening do a great job at utilizing it. Good for you. Number 4 is people fail to not add bonus items to their albums. And so you can actually add things like PDFs or photos, or even like shoot like a little video from the artist on your phone and say, hey, thanks for buying the record, and something that's exclusive to Bandcamp. Speaking of exclusive to Bandcamp, I actually think it's important that even if you don't include a PDF booklet of lyrics or a photo or whatever, you can actually include bonus tracks that are hidden from the album that only are included when they buy the record and download it. Or you can actually include bonus tracks like B-sides or live versions or demos of the album, and kind of make a Bandcamp exclusive deluxe edition that's exclusive to Bandcamp that don't go to the DSPs like Apple and Spotify. And I think this is cool because it entices the music fans to buy the album directly as opposed to streaming it, because they get some bonus stuff like PDFs, like a booklet, or some extra tracks. Speaking of exclusivity, number 5 is some people fail to create a Bandcamp window. What does that mean? I think it's important to do an exclusive window to Bandcamp. We want our active fans to go to Bandcamp. Remember, I've talked on this show before about passive and active listeners, passive listeners and active listeners. Passive listeners to me are like people who listen to music only through playlists. Just when they're studying or working out or doing yoga or whatever, or cooking, they throw on a playlist to fit their mood, to fit their lifestyle. They don't really think too much about the artists or even know who the artists are, but they listen to music. I like those fans. Those are great. And then there's active fans who follow artists. They go to their shows, they buy their merch. And those are the people who are going to buy your record on Bandcamp. I like both. I think they complement both. But Bandcamp definitely serves your active listeners. And so if you give them an exclusive window, it entices them to go and buy a physical product or to buy the actual downloads, where you as a label and as an artist get a little bit of a bigger cut. And so I think it's really important to utilize an exclusivity window where maybe a day before it goes to streaming or a week before it goes to streaming, that you upload it to Bandcamp and make it available to your fans. You're going to lose a little bit of that release day momentum, but maybe do it secretly. Maybe do it like a day or 2 days before, and just just have it alert the people who follow you on Bandcamp, and just do it to a certain amount. Don't spread it on social media. So that could be a cool way. So just to go back over these 5 things, 5 mistakes I see record labels making and things that they're not utilizing when it comes to Bandcamp is, number 1, not having product images for their physical products. Number 2, not submitting music to the Bandcamp editorial team ahead of time. Number 3, not utilizing the mailing list feature that comes free built into Bandcamp. Number 4, not adding bonus features like bonus PDFs or bonus tracks. And then number 5, not giving an exclusive window to Bandcamp, which I think could be really cool. I hope you found this helpful. Go to otherrecordlabels.com/Bandcamp, where I'll store all of this information about Bandcamp and all of our helpful tips and our actual interview with Bandcamp at otherrecordlabels.com/Bandcamp. Thank you so much for listening.